Okay, so so thanks for joining us. The session is being recorded, and we will be sending this out subsequently to all those who've registered. Presentation not too onerous. It's only going to last an hour or so. Any comments or questions, please interject and we'll respond. Or alternatively, please leave it in the chat box, and Joe will inform us, and we can respond in that way. There'll be some time allocated at the close for a more formal question and answer. So don't worry, we can answer questions at the close. Next slide, please, Joe. What we'll cover, what's in, what's not in as well, which is equally important. The key features, a full demo. We'll also just touch upon delivered financials, the financial only template, and delivered is just the start. So how you can use the template as a first phase and exploit functionality at a later date if required. So next slide, please, Joe. A little bit about us, about Techman. We've been trading for 33 years now, over 160 employees, privately owned. We've been involved with Navision, former name for Business Central, since the 90s. In fact, predating Microsoft's ownership of the product. Next slide, please, Joe. Two guys who will be seeing you through the day, both commercial people. Craig will be doing the actual meat and bones of the demo. Next slide, please, Joe. So the Business Central implementation approaches, two methodologies for implementing Business Central, colloquially known as off the shelf, which is effectively what we're going to see today, the delivered template, and a synopsis there of the pros and cons, readily available, low setup costs, predictable monthly fee. I suppose the caveat, the clients need to adapt their processes to fit the system. And then on the right-hand side, you've got the custom development or full consultancy approach, essentially a solution built around the basic needs and requirements of a particular company. Invariably requires like a full scope and potentially development, so more expensive. Next slide, please, Joe. Introduction to delivered. So a majority of our customers specialize in the distribution space, and I suppose from this tradition and experience, we've identified the need for a fixed price templated Business Central to mitigate consultancy costs and make BC accessible at a much more palatable cost, particularly for growing organizations or those looking perhaps at as we said earlier, first phase implementation, to then sort of use additional functionality at a subsequent date. Delivered includes established consistent functionality that, from our experience, distributors want and need to get them up and running with a fixed outcome. Next slide, please, Joe. So why delivered? You have certainty, so a fixed implementation time, a fixed price, and a fixed outcome. And next slide, please, Joe. Again, why delivered? Some salient points here. I won't read it out for you guys. You can see that, but we've addressed a few of them already. Again, fixed scope. Clever Dynamics. Oh, we'll just go back to that, Joe. Sorry, thank you. Clever Dynamics is our software division. We author Microsoft approved apps to I suppose, extend or ameliorate the native functionality of Business Central. Apps range from sort of supplementary credit management to a full warehouse management suite, Clever WMS. The apps are sold directly through Clever, but we also have a formal partner community domestically and internationally who transact licenses with their own BC users. And you'll see now in Craig's demonstration how the apps are used adjacently with the delivered template. So I'll push it over to you now, Craig.
Thanks, Bri. So what I'm going to talk about then is what is actually included in the delivered solution. So as you can see on the screen at the top, these are the areas that we will configure for you as part of the implementation. So you've got finance, sales order processing, purchasing, inventory and warehouse. So that should be everything that you will need in order to run your business from a centralized system. So right the way from the beginning where you raise a purchase order to procure some stock, you'll bring that into your warehouse and then you'll raise a sales order to sell that stock to your customers and then ship it out. And as Brian mentioned as well, our Clever apps are included in our delivered solution. So Clever Credit, as an example, it's a Clever credit controller app. So where credit controllers are logging their tasks in a day. So for example, if I was calling a customer about a certain invoice, standard Business Central doesn't have anything where you can log that essentially. So you can sort of build yourself a to-do list. We've included that in this delivered solution as part of our own apps that we've made, just to help fill those gaps that where we see the standard system doesn't do. Next slide, please, Joe. So I'll go through in a little bit more detail what's included. So finance, everything that you see on screen is what we will configure as part of the finance side. It does mention their predefined chart of accounts. So we have worked with our finance specialists at Techman to build a standard chart of accounts, which is suitable for companies really coming from QuickBooks or Sage 500 or those type of systems. If you're moving from that to Business Central, these chart of accounts are quite nice for that. However, that being said, if you did want to bring across your own chart of accounts, we can do that, but there is an additional charge for that just because there's some additional setup that's required. But typically, if you're moving to a new system, it's always a good time to, have a bit of a clean up in terms of, your nominals and stuff like that. So that's just an option there. Next slide, please, Joe. Sales order processing. Sales order processing and purchase order processing are very similar. Once you know how to do one in the system, it's almost mirrored. So say, for example, once you raise a sales order, the process is very similar from a purchase order perspective. Everything that you can see on the screen is what's included as part of the delivered solution. So quoting, blanket orders, prepayments, returns, everything that would be standard kind of processes are included, and we will train you on how to do all of these as well. Next slide, please, Joe. And from an inventory and warehouse management perspective, so we work with FIFO, standard and average costing methods. Those are the costing methods that are included in Business Central as standard. So again, warehouse receipts, putaways, picks, everything that you can see on screen here. I don't want to read the slide, but everything that you can see on screen here is what we will configure as part of the inventory and warehouse management module. Next slide, please, Joe. So the process, what's included with the process. So the way that we would implement delivered, there's three main areas to it. So there's data migration, training, and user acceptance testing. So at Techman, we do put a big emphasis on training. So about 25% of the project is taken up with training. So, and that is supported by our LMS online resources as well. So as Business Central is a Microsoft product, there are a lot of resources online, such as Microsoft Learn and various other sources. What we have found is that's quite hard to digest. So what we have done is we've taken all that information and we have built our own learning platform, which is a little bit more human. It's easier to understand. There's quizzes, there's, short snippets of information like how to do certain things within the system, and that is included as part of the delivered solution as well. So it's a very nice way to keep up to date with the system. Next slide, please, Joe. So even though delivered is a fixed solution, we do understand that sometimes there are additional requirements. So we have got additional packs that you can select, such as what I mentioned earlier, your own chart of accounts. There is also fixed assets as an optional pack, as an example. So I'll go through a couple of these extra packs now, and we can always pick and choose which ones that you'd need to add into the solution. And these all do have preset costs as well. So you'll still have an understanding of how much it's going to cost at the end. It's not like we'll say we'll add this in and we're not going to know until we've actually done the work. These all have preset costs, these extra packs. Next slide, please, Joe. Thank you. So first, we've got our finance packs. So what's included in our finance pack? So I've mentioned the predefined chart of accounts, but fixed asset register as an example. So if you have fixed assets in your system at the moment and you want to maintain that moving forward into Business Central, it's not included in the initial delivered scope, but we can do that for you as an additional pack. There are some other finance features as well, such as managing GL budgets and cash flows. They're all included under our finance bundle. Next slide, please, Joe. So the Shopify connector, as standard out of the box, Business Central does have an integration to Shopify. So if you have a website that's built on that platform, you can manage sales orders through that. You can manage products. You can also add descriptions and images of new products through the website, and that'll pull that down into Business Central. Our Shopify connector pack, essentially what that does is that gives you some additional consultancy to get you started, and also helps with the initial setup or anything like that. Next slide. You've done it. So integrated EDI. If you are using EDI today and you want to use that with Business Central, we can do that for you as an additional pack to the delivered solution. So on the screen at the moment, these are all the EDI, well, not all, there are some of the EDI partners that we do work with. Some of them you might recognize, such as Tesco, Amazon, other businesses like that. So whether you want the system to create a sales order in Business Central or send out an invoice, our EDI solution will do that for you. Next, we have our handheld solution. So this is our barcode scanning solution for the warehouse. So this makes the warehouse process much easier and streamlined. So it also helps keep real-time data in your system aligned with what's in your warehouse. So what I mean by that is if you were to move stock in your warehouse from, say, one location to another, using this solution, it will update Business Central real time. So the system will always reflect where something is in the warehouse. So this is an additional pack that we can add on, or if you want to look at that as a phase 2 or a phase 3, that's something that we can do for you as well. Landed costs. So as standard in the delivered solution, landed costs are managed by what we call item charges. And the way that item charges would work is once you have sold the goods or purchased the goods, sorry, and you have then in a couple of weeks' time, you receive an invoice for freight. you would apply that invoice to those goods and it would raise the cost of the goods so you can see how much the total costs of those are. What landed cost does is it helps give you better data in terms of how much your products are costing. So what I mean by this is if I was to procure something, if I was to buy one box of whatever the product is that I'm selling at £10, landed costs can help by posting expected costs at that point in the system. And that's all configurable to how you would use it. So this is an additional pack that we can provide if needed. We have extended reporting as well. So Business Central has gotten a lot better with the most recent releases in terms of reports. So it does have, off the top of my head, I can't remember how many standard reports it has now, but it does have a lot of standard reports pre-built into the solution. If you needed additional reporting on top of that, we do have additional packs where we can create more bespoke reports based on the data that you have. It is also worth mentioning that the standard Business Central product now does have Power BI reports built in. You can't modify them as they're already built in, and they do require a Power BI license to share, but they are pre-built there, ready to use if you do need them. Expense management as well. This is quite a common one that we see get added into delivered projects. So expense management is pretty much what it says on the screen. If you need to log expenses within your system, we have a pack that will enable you to do that. So the ISV is called Continia that we use for that. So we use this solution at Techman for our expenses. I can say through personal use, it's very easy to use. It's very slick. It's very easy. It will do everything that you need it to do. Next slide, please, Joe. And something which is really important is our cloud monitoring. So this is Techman's service where we have a dedicated team that will monitor your Business Central environment to make sure that it is compatible with the latest versions that get released. So to give a little bit of context, Business Central goes through minor releases each month with 2 major releases a year. So the minor releases are 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. The major releases will be like, say, for example, 24 to 25 to 26. Because Business Central SaaS is constantly being updated, you don't want to have to worry about, is my system going to work on the latest version? Is it not? You don't have to worry about upgrading it. We will do all that for you. The really good thing with cloud monitoring as well is if you have external apps plugged into your system, it is the ISV's responsibility to make sure that their apps are compatible with the latest version. So as part of our cloud monitoring service, we will be in contact with the ISVs that are within your system to make sure that their apps are going to be constantly updated so that you don't have to do that. So we do all that on your behalf. What cloud monitoring also does is it will also monitor the storage in your system as well. So once you hit certain thresholds, we can work with you to say, oh, you're at 70% of your storage. We need to maybe look at this, or we need to look at that. So cloud monitoring is an essential service really for peace of mind to make sure that your system is going to be constantly maintained. Next slide, please, Joe. So what's not included? So, I mean, as you can see on the screen, that's everything that won't be included as part of the delivered solution. So as it is a fixed scope, this is important really to decide whether or not it's right for your business. So please bear in mind that any of the additional functionality excluded from the fast implementation, it can be added at a phase 2 once your system is live, and it in no way will the delivered scope limit you in the future. So even though we're saying that this is not included from day one from a delivered solution perspective, it doesn't mean you can't have that as a phase 2 or a phase 3. So it's still the same product. So it's still Business Central. It's just it's templated. It gives you a building block to essentially build upon it. So conditions. So these are just a few assumptions that we would make to make sure that your business will fit into the delivered scope. So typically what we tend to find is with manufacturing companies, as an example, their business processes are a little bit more bespoke and a little bit more different, and they perhaps wouldn't benefit from having a delivered fixed implementation. So we do deliver the whole implementation remotely. But all the sessions like training, configuration, and support, they are all with real people. So we're not just gonna, sit you on a Teams call and make you watch a video by yourself. You'll all have dedicated people there ready to train and deliver that content. It's important to note that there is no requirement gathering and we don't do any development. So what I mean by that is requirement gathering is we won't look to go through your business processes in detail like you would with a standard implementation, and we won't do any development to the system. So say if there was a specific thing that you needed in, I don't know, for example, for sales orders, you needed an extra thing here, or you needed any kind of modifications to that as part of the delivered solution, we won't do that. We can do that, but then you're moving more into the realms of the standard BC implementation then, which is where things will start to get a little bit more expensive. Next slide, please, Joe. So from an implementation process, there are three main components with any ERP implementation, and those are data migration, training, and user acceptance testing. The aim really is to give you the right tools and the knowledge so that once the system is in, you can get the most out of your new solution. So in our experience, data migration and UAT are often underestimated and time consuming. So what we do is we include guides and templates into our onboarding course. Oh, excuse me. And that is launched before project kickoff. So before the project kicks off, we will give you guides and templates in our onboarding course just to prepare you for the upcoming implementation. So I have mentioned before, we do put a lot of emphasis on user training as well. So it does represent about a quarter of the project. And all of that training is delivered remotely, and it is delivered by our dedicated training team as well. So we do have a dedicated trainer at Techman that will train you on these processes, and that is all they do, and they're very good. So it's all self-paced, and it includes videos and quizzes and everything that you'd need in order to learn the new system that you have. Next slide, please, Joe. So this is a nice visual to see what a typical implementation would look like in terms of dates. So month one, MSA would be signed, and as I mentioned, you will be given your welcome and onboarding pack. In the background, as we're doing that, we will be building the system for you. So whilst you are going through your additional welcome packs, we're going to be building the standard system for you. And then also at the end of month one, we're going to go through a process walkthrough. So that's really, how do you intend to use the system? We'll give your users a Business Central overview, just so you can see what it will look like and a bit of a feel for it. And in month two, you'll begin to start to have review sessions with our consultants and also go through key user training. So key user training is where we will train your key users how to use the system in the way that they are going to be needing to. And then they in turn will train their colleagues so they can use the system as well. Month two is also where we'll start that data migration of sample data. So that's where we take typically, I think it's 5 customers, 5 vendors, and we'll import them into the new system. And we'll use that for testing and process reviews and stuff like that, just to make sure that, we're comfortable with it. Month 3, again, we'll go through more key user training, more review sessions with the consultants. And we'll also do end user training by key users as well. So we'll assist with that training with the end users by your key users as well. Month 3 is where we'll do the data import of all the data as well. So that'll be all the customers, all the vendors, all the data from your old system will then be imported into the new one. Month 4 is where we'll upload opening balances. This is where, things are, we're getting ready to go live now. We'll do the final data migration. We'll finish off with some final testing just to make sure that we're happy with everything. And then right before go live, we'll go through a client process walkthrough. So that's where, we'll want to see, how do you intend to use the system now? So how do you intend to process sales orders, purchase orders, everything that you would do on a day-to-day basis? We'll see how you intend to do it and make sure that it works in your new system as well. And then finally, once you go live, you have an extended go live support. So for the first 2 weeks, you'll have support from the consultants work through with you on the project. You'll have support for your first month end. And then following that, we'll hand you over to our support desk, who will support you moving forward. And also you'll be assigned an account manager at Techman as well to help you with anything, any phase 2, phase 3, or any kind of projects you want to do moving forward. Right, I'm going to stop talking now because we've got a delivered demo that we were going to show you. I've seen a couple of questions in the chat popping up. I'll have a look through those while this is playing. But again, if any questions come in, please let us know. But yeah, if you could play the demo, please, Joe.
Business Central is a web-based application, which means you can use it almost anywhere or on any device. When you log in, you will be presented with a homepage. The homepage changes depending on your role. I'm using Role Center Business Manager, as you can see in my settings. But there's a list of standard role centers you can choose from, so your team always get the information they need to do their job efficiently. The homepage has menus at the top, queues, which show you information about your business, and insights that are visual representation of your data. Let's look at queues in a bit more detail. Queues give you a summary number of, for example, open orders or partially processed orders. And when I click into that number, I can see the list of the orders it is made of. By clicking on the individual order number, I can drill down and see the details of each order. You can share any list from Business Central to Excel or Teams to someone who does not have access to Business Central. The queues vary depending on your role center. So again, everyone gets the summary information they need right from the off. In the next step, I will show you how easy it is to create your own view of a customer list. I will open a list of customers. I will start the personalization mode. And using this, I can remove fields, such as location code, or I can add field, such as credit limit, just by dragging the field where I want it to show. I can also use sorting option. So for example, I can sort by balance due, showing customer account which owes us the most money. And I can use filters. By filtering to only accounts which are overdue, I can create filter of overdue accounts. And because I want to check this on a regular basis, I can also save it. Next time I go to the customer list, I don't have to filter for overdue accounts, but I can simply click on my saved filter. When you're going down the customer list, you may notice that the information in the panel on the right-hand side are changing. You can see the number of posted sales invoices or ongoing sales orders, and you can also see the balance. I can drill down to this information to, for example, check which invoices are making this balance. I will now go back to the home page. And as you can see, the home page gives you access to most of the information you may be using on a daily basis, depending on your role. But let's say that you'd like to set up which you do not open on a daily basis, such as general ledger setup to close a period at the month end to prevent users posting to closed period. To do that, you can use Tell Me search function. And this gives you access to any page, report, or setup in the system. And I can select from the options. I can also bookmark this page if I want to, and that will add it to my home page. When you start using Business Central, the one feature you may find particularly useful is the online help. There are several ways of how to learn about your new system on the go. For example, when you hover over a certain field, such as when I go to the item list and base unit of measure field, I can read the brief description of what it does. And I can also click on the Learn More link, which will open the help pane. And from there, I can access links to Microsoft Learn site, which will guide me through the functionality. I hope this gave you a quick overview of how Business Central looks. And next, we will walk you through the Business Central capabilities included in the delivered package. In today's demonstration, we will go through a scenario when the RetroStop company that sells puzzles and games receives a customer order, which we will fulfill by placing an order with one of our suppliers. We will then show what it would look like in the warehouse when we have received the stock and prepare it for a dispatch. As part of this process, we use WMS Devices Extra Pack. In today's world, the orders are typically created electronically. So before I open Business Central, I'd like to mention the different sales channels that you can integrate to your delivered solution, such as Shopify, which is an out-of-the-box Microsoft connector to Business Central, EDI, which allows you to create sales orders automatically in Business Central without manual intervention. And this slide gives you a flavor of the EDI partners we've worked with, so you can be confident that we understand EDI and what's required to deliver a seamless service. Or by email. If you're using Outlook, you can install Business Central add-in to your mailbox to see customer insights and create documents directly from the incoming emails. You can add Shopify and EDI solutions as part of our extra packs. So now we will move to Business Central. When the orders come via EDI, Shopify, or have been created via Outlook, they are already showing in your order list, so you can just review what has been ordered and check if you have sufficient stock. In our scenario, we have received this sales order via a phone, so I will create a new document manually. You can see that even the manual process takes only a couple of moments. We have received an order from our customer, the game shop, and they have ordered cat puzzle, 50 pieces. At this point, the system retrieves your price list and applies any discounts you may have agreed with your customer. You can also see item availability directly from the sales line. You can see available inventory, and when we click into the item availability, we can review what sales orders have been already placed. Since we do not have enough stock to fulfill all sales orders, I will place a purchase order with one of our suppliers. Once I am happy with the sales order, I can release it, and that will prevent other users from accidentally changing it. When I press release, however, the system shows me that the order has been credit held, and that's due to the fact that the customer has overdue balance and is over their credit limit. This message is showing thanks to our Clever Credit app, which is part of the productivity pack. In this scenario, I am also a credit controller, and I have spoken to the customer, and they have given me a promised payment date. They tend to fulfill their promises, so I'm going to release their order. Next, I will generate a warehouse shipment so that it appears in the list of dispatches waiting to be fulfilled by the warehouse. Next, I will place a purchase order with one of our suppliers. And these are Shanghai exporters. And I have agreed with them that when I buy in bulk, I receive a discount. So I am going to order 200 pieces instead of 50 I need just right now. You can see the line discount has been automatically applied. Now I can release the order. I could also email it to the supplier using app in our productivity pack, Clever Document Delivery. And if I need to calculate import fees or duty, I could also use our extra pack landed costs, which would automatically record an accrual on receipt. Once the purchase order is confirmed, I will generate warehouse receipt so that the warehouse is aware of the incoming order. The warehouse could now process the order using just Business Central, but we would like to show you another option that will result in quicker picking, fewer errors, and better service for your customers. Now let's go to the warehouse and show you the process using our WMS device solution, which can be purchased as part of our extra bags.
For all intents and purposes, I'm a warehouse worker ready to process this order through the warehouse. Here I have a scanning device which comes as another extra pack in your delivered solution for Business Central that is barcode scanning. It makes it so much easier for your staff in the warehouse by making the whole process more accurate and streamlined. It runs on cost-effective Android devices. You can easily connect to it by downloading Clever WMS from Microsoft's App Stores, like our other Clever products. The setup is very easy. With handhelds, your warehouse workers don't have to carry around any pieces of paper and end up losing them, which can result in lost or unfulfilled customer orders. All the information they need is on the device. What's also great is that it's all real-time data you can trust, because what's in your warehouse is immediately reflected in Business Central. I'm going to show you one way that you can process an order through a warehouse, but we appreciate that your processes may be different. All expected receipts will be showing on our handheld. Once the lorry with our order has arrived, the first step is to process the receipt. We will scan receipt, scan receipt number, scan item number, type in quantity to receive, which is 200. When we post the receipt, the inventory in BC is automatically updated. Because we are using putaways, we now have to move the stock from the receiving bay to the dedicated bin, so we make space for other orders coming in today. To put stock away, I will scan item number, type in quantity that I'm moving, which is number 200, scan bin, and put the item in the bin location. To simplify the process of handling multiple items at a time, you can use our extension called Clever Containers. Clever Containers allows you to move individual items on a pallet in bulk. For example, you can instantly put away or move a collection of items in a container. Scan the container number and then enter where you have put it. It's that simple. So speak to us if that's something you would need in your delivered solution. Getting back to our warehouse scanning demonstration, now that we have the puzzle in the right place in our warehouse, we can review what is ready to be shipped today. In the next step, we'll prepare our customer's order for dispatch. If you are using warehouse picks, you will record the picking instructions to move the items from its bin location to the goods out area. So we'll start picking by scan pick number, scan item number, scan bin, type in quantity, which is sales amount. Now I have registered the pick and moved the stock from its bin location to a dispatch bay. Again, this will be mirrored immediately in BC. Once we have all orders ready in a dispatch area, we can load them on the van and ship them. This can be done by scan shipment number, and we post the shipment. Now the order has been shipped, inventory in Business Central is automatically updated. We'll now hand over to Business Central to invoice the order.
So now the shipment has been posted, we can process the sales invoice, and I can show you an example of the document that will be emailed to a customer. I will invoice from sales order. So I will find my sales order and process the invoice. And when invoice is posted, Clever Document Delivery can automatically email the invoice in the background. I will now show you my mailbox to show you how the outgoing email can look like. This is a simple invoice. You will be able to change the design using Word layout. I'm now back in Business Central, and this was just one way how you can manage your invoicing process. You can also post the invoices automatically on shipment, consolidate shipments into one invoice, or post invoices in bulk. You can also control how the invoices are emailed out, and instead of emailing them instantly upon posting, they can be, for example, emailed in a batch out of hours using job queue. As promised, our customer has sent us payment, so we will now process customer receipt. And I will do that by using my home page, payments, and register customer payments. I will find my invoice for the game shop, and I will tick that the payment has been made. You can also do this in bulk if you wish to. I will post the payment, which will register the receipt in the system. In the meantime, we have also received the purchase invoice from our supplier, so I will create a new purchase invoice against Shanghai exporters. And I will find receipt we have just processed. I will use get receipt lines, select my receipt. And because I'm trading with this supplier in US dollars, I can change my exchange rate if I need to. Type in invoice number I've been provided, and I can process the invoice. Once the purchase invoice has been registered, I also need to pay the supplier. Depending on how you manage your payments, you could do a payment run at the end of the week and export the payments to a box file, which is covered in the Techman banking app, and that comes with the delivered solution. However, because this payment is in US dollars, I will pay it manually as one-off. And to do that, I will again go to the payments and create vendor payment. Here, I will select invoice I just registered, create payment, select bank account I want to pay from, and the system will suggest payment journal line for me. I will register the payment, which means the purchase invoice is now closed. The last delivered feature I would like to show you is our extended reporting package, which includes chat reports. Business Central offers a range of out-of-the-box reports, but depending on the size and complexity of your business, they may not fulfill all your reporting requirements. Every company is slightly different, and Chat gives you an ability to build your own reports using Excel. It connects directly to Business Central tables, and you can build your own visuals using standard Excel features. We will give you training in report building and provide you with sample reports to help you get started. This has brought our end-to-end scenario to a close. I hope it gave you a good insight into the Business Central capabilities available with the Delivered for Distribution solution.
Thanks, Joe. So that is a typical sort of monthly cost based on the demo. Sort of leave it on the screen for you guys. Ongoing monthly license and support costs. Do note the Business Central named users is aligned with the essential tier of pricing for Business Central, and that but this cost includes support. And then following on from that, we've used the integrated EDI and warehouse. Craig's gone over the cloud monitoring and upgrade management, so I won't delve too much into that. And the implementation cost below that sort of setup fee. So the implementation, the installation of EDI and setup, the warehouse and the Shopify integration product cost. Next slide, please, Joe. So ongoing support, we will help you to grow your solution alongside your business. For all customers, we typically organise workshops and events. There are available sort of podcasts and newsletters. Yeah, as a delivered customer, you will have access to our support. And again, the ubiquitous cloud control support services mentioned. Next slide, please, Joe. Okay, so a bit about delivered financials. Next slide, please, Joe. Delivered financials, again, the same sort of format as delivered distribution, Business Central, with those elements, general ledger, cash management, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and include our apps, clever credit control, delivery, links. Starts at 14,000 and can be implemented in 2 months. Show similar format again. There's the supplementary packs, again all detailed on the website in terms of individual cost. Pass back to you, Craig.
So the fixed solutions are just the start. So a delivered implementation is designed to give you the building blocks for getting onto the solution and then expanding it as you wish. I think typically most ERP projects, a lot of people that are looking to move away from other ERP solutions, is because perhaps their existing solution is a little bit too modified now, too complicated. So what is really good with Delivered is the fact that you can start so small with the standard functionality and then grow it as your business grows with it. So it's very scalable in that sense. We will work with you to say whether or not that Delivered is the right solution for you. And as mentioned throughout this whole presentation, there are always going to be little areas where businesses will use Business Central slightly different. Not everybody will use this the same way. We are very aware of that, and we will work with you to make sure that the solution will do what it is that you need it to do. Next slide, please, Joe. So this is just a nice visual of where you can kind of start. So as Brian just mentioned, the delivered financials, that is the exact same solution, but we will just configure out the finance side of things. So that's more for people looking to move away from Sage, for example. So if you have an old Sage system and you're looking to upgrade it, but you're not looking for the full maybe warehousing or any of that just right now, you can just start with the financials and then build upon it to include the warehousing, and then you can build upon that further to include everything that you would need it to. It just depends on what kind of stage that you're at, and from a business point of view, where you'd like to start, or where perhaps what budget you've got. These have been designed to give you stepping stones, really, just to get started with the project. This is quite a nice slide. So through our delivered implementation, you can see where the 14,000 figure is. That is what the delivered cost is. If that was to go through the traditional customized implementation, going off the normal way, I'll say normal, the standard way, it'd be 34,000. So there's a nice 59% saving there. And the same for the bottom, like 50% saving. So if you was to go through customized development for the warehousing and distribution element that we've seen today, that'd be 80 as opposed to the 40, which is the structured standard templated delivered solution that we do. So there is some nice cost saving, there is some benefit to it. So what I would typically recommend is, if you want to get started with Business Central, if you can make delivered fit for your business, then to me, I would suggest using delivered initially, and then obviously building upon that on a phase 2 or phase 3 to get it maybe to more tailored to what your business does. But a delivered solution will fit 95% of your business process requirements. In terms of what's next, if you wanted to book a discovery session with one of the members of the team, if you scan this, it will take you to our website where you can fill in your details and someone will be in contact with you. And we'll be able to discuss what options would be best depending on what it is that you're looking to do. And that's it from us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. If you do want any more information, our website has all of the prices on. So all of the additional packs that have been mentioned throughout this presentation, they are all on there for you to look and see what's included, and they all have the prices on them as well. So you can get a really good idea if you were just looking at if you're looking at the full distribution, which was the 40,000. You can look at the extra packs and add these on, so you can get you could build up quite a good picture of what it's going to cost you depending on what it is that you need to do. Does anybody have any questions based off anything that we've spoken about, or
there's been quite a few there's been quite a few in the chat, and I've left my email in there if anyone wants any contact subsequently. But yeah, any questions, please let us know.
Can I just ask a question with regard to integration with third-party selling tools? So, for example, we've got a solution with Aspin Pixel, which all of our sales reps use for selling out on the road. Presumably, direct integration with that shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's just obviously goes down a customization route, yeah.
We actually, sorry, this is Liam here. Sorry to interrupt, guy. Yeah, we work with Pixel for many years. So there's we can integrate with Pixel, no problems. If you're using it for like product brochures and being on the road and things like that, like a digital brochure, that's not a problem. It's got some great qualities. The product's getting closer out the box already with that. But yeah, if you're using Pixel, no problem at all.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, good stuff. I don't think. Oh, see, Brian, you just responded to that one in the chat.
Dave was just asking a question.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll send out the recording to everyone. And Dave said, we integrate with pod delivery software. How easy is this to integrate?
Yeah, I'll pick that one up as well. So we work again with some pod software. We've integrated with a product called Podfather. So I don't know what you're using, Dave, but we work with Podfather. And we've done an integration point directly into BC. So, all of that flows through. So when you get the signature or whatever, the photograph that it's been delivered, that will go back and BC will automatically know that's been done. And if there's the next actions, whether it's raising the invoice or whatever it needs to be, it is. But it will depend on what your pod software is. It's not always out the box, but you can normally integrate to most things if they've got an API. But we've done it with what we believe is one of the best, Podfather. But if you've got a different one, let us know and we can look at that as a separate piece of work.
Okay, sorry, I will. It's easier to talk. We use Max Optra.
Okay.
It's quite a popular one.
Yeah. So what you can normally do is you can normally find you can integrate. It depends what level of integration, as with all of these things, Dave. If you just want it to pass some details through and then fine, that's great. If you want it then to interact back and in your software to push, as I said, we often have a photograph of the proof of delivery. Does that need to end up back in Business Central to be that one central place? It just depends, but yes, we can definitely do it. It just it would involve some work with the developers at our side just to work out what fields are being replicated or where's the data transfer going to happen.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Liam, would that be the same with someone like DHL?
So we've got part of our clever apps, we have something called shipping agent integration. So absolutely, we've again written that because as we focus purely with distribution and manufacturing companies, we get asked this all the time. So we have written that integration for certain couriers. They're all on the Clever Dynamics website. We're always adding new ones, but DHL are on there. There's 3 different types of DHL, which is why I just hesitate to say yes, they're all done. You got like DHL Europe, DHL local, DHL. So, but yes is the answer. We've written that shipping agent integration is a product that we have. It bolts onto BC, and absolutely, it'll integrate with their system. So you're not rekeying the data onto their website. It all pushes through to the DHL side of things, and then again, it'll track back and let you know that it's been delivered or whatever it needs.
Fantastic, thank you.
I'm sure we can put some links on that maybe on the follow-up email. If you go to our Clever Dynamics page, Craig knows that inside out as well. So, but yes, shipping agent integration, we've got a whole bunch of couriers we work with.
Sorry, one other thing with integrations, we have a CRM that we're integrating with at the minute, Sugar CRM, which is a bit like Salesforce. That I take it that's just no issue.
I just feel like I'm jumping in, Craig, and pinching your show here. Sorry, tell me if you want. Again, with anything, it really depends on the level of integration you want. A lot of the products like Sugar, like Salesforce, obviously Microsoft have Dynamics, which is they have their own CRM product. They will have certain touch points, and there's a lot of tools to integrate between the two. Now, that might be something very basic, like if it's just customer information, order information. It really depends what you expect from that level of integration. So it's expectation is typically the biggest gotcha with these type of projects where what are we actually going? Oh, well, I thought I was going to get everything. And we're saying, well, out of the box, you get this. Microsoft have a thing called AppSource, which is their like app store. And if you go onto AppSource and you can choose, I'm looking for Business Central products, and you could put Sugar CRM, it'll come back and tell you if there is a connector out the box. Well, not out the box, but someone has written a connector for Sugar. I'm just trying to log on now to give you the answer, but I'd be surprised if it's not. There's an awful lot of connectors out there for the popular products, as you can imagine. So I'm just looking here, Sugar.
There is a Sugar Connect app. I'm looking at it now. So what I normally say is, there's 2 or 3. Some of them are for Excel, but if we check there for BC, Craig is the only thing I'd say. But yeah, normally have a look at that. You can normally trial those, but if you look at the links from AppSource, you'll see what the partner that's written those, and you'll find our apps on AppSource as well. You have a description of what they are, maybe a link to the website. Just check out that it does what you want it to do. But if it gives you, 20, 30, 40 touch points of fields that can go back and forth, that's normally the way the integration works.
Right, okay. It needs a bit more work, but yeah, looking into, thank you.
A lot of the time with the CRM integration, it's what processes sit in which product. So we would normally say all your ordering, etc., would sit within the ERP side of things, so in Business Central. But you have some people that want to maybe have sold via the CRM. They've got the quote in CRM, and they want to generate the order within CRM. So there's sometimes a business process discussion around where these different processes sitting in which product, and that can again you need to just articulate that with whenever you're talking to us around what can and can't be done, and working out where it sits.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good stuff. If there's no more questions, I think we're all done.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for
welcome.
everyone who asked questions as well. Some good questions. As Brian mentioned then, the recording will be sent out. We'll include some links as well to our Clever site, just so you can have a look on there for the various apps that we do in-house. And yeah, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your, I was going to say afternoon then, but it's still morning. Hope you enjoy the rest of your morning.
Lovely. Thanks,
Thanks a lot.
guys.
Thank you,
Very
everybody.
welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.